Barbara.
Alan.
Hi, Nancy. Hi, Barbara. Hi, Alan.
Hi, Mary. Hi, Ed.
Hi,
Are you
Galena.
canter ship?
Hi, Miguel.
Hi, Chief.
We'll be
Miguel.
Hi, Elaine. Terry.
Hi, sir. Hi, everyone.
Elaine
Hello,
Prusak.
Elaine.
Hi.
Hi.
Hi. Hi, Howard.
Hi, how's everybody doing?
Fabulous.
Bored, a little crazy.
Why are using these not?
A little crazy.
I'm using these.
We're using Haggadahs? Which one?
I don't know. I took them out just in case.
Okay.
I was here for the camaraderie.
Barbara, I'm going to share the Haggadah. Can you please tell me if you see it, okay?
What's that?
I am going to share the Haggadah. And
Okay.
please know if you can see it, okay? Do you see it now?
Yes, we do.
No, not yet. Yes, we
Here
do.
it is.
Okay, there's the Haggadah.
Just wanted to sure. Thank you.
So where did she put the Haggadah? I guess it's on you.
So do it.
When we get to that part, we'll have to move that.
Hi, Ollie. Hi, Damien.
Hello.
Waka, waka, waka.
Damien.
Oh, David, I can see you now.
That's right.
Yeah, go ahead.
Sure.
So this is gonna be on her, if she has the Haggadah.
I guess when we get to that part, we'll move it up.
It's fair.
Hi, David. Hello.
Hi, Gracie. Hi, Davy.
Good evening, good Passover.
Hey, Alan, you
Hi,
didn't shave
Barbara.
yet. Good for you.
No, I did not shave.
Good for you. Before.
Hey, David, I still have that hat for you.
This is why. Well, if you'll live through this thing, I'll get it from you.
You got it.
Oh, God.
Where is the Haggadah?
She had it on the thing. Okay, so we'll see it.
We've lowered our stand.
Hello.
Good.
Okay.
I kept the door open for Elijah.
Yeah, close it.
Cold,
It's
it's
cold.
cold. It is cold. It is closed.
Something else is open.
I know.
What else?
I don't know. I'll put the heat on.
Thank you. My apologies, everybody. I just wanted to see if you would make me. Okay, we have a minute before we start. And again, I ask at this point, everyone to mute your mute either your computers or your phones. Again, it's going to be done muted or not muted. I don't see the Cantor. Cantor, where are you? Cantor. Hello?
I'm here, Rob. I'm here.
Okay, we got it. Okay, so we're going to begin now. First of all, Chag Sameach, happy and a healthy and a sweet Passover. And as I said before, I never thought that my connection to my temple family and my nuclear family for Amy and myself would be through a computer screen, but this too is part of God's magic and gift to us. Now, as I said before, we're going to be muted and unmuted. We want to hear our kids join with the cantor and singing. And we want to go through the Seder as we did last night with a sense of joy and being uplifted. And while this may not be the Passover we envisioned last year or last month, it is still a gift. It is still a blessing. So before we continue, with the blessings over the candles, and the cantor will lead the ladies, and please light the candles if you have it. And I want to thank Jim Rotenberg for making the virtual Haggadah possible. I understand you can see it on your screens. I want to make one more announcement I made earlier. Normally, many of us get rid of the chametz, the leaven that we have in the home at Passover to a greater or lesser extent. Do not do it this year. What trumps individual mitzvot is providing for the welfare of ourselves and our family. And that's why when we ask the first question, why is this Passover different than all other Passovers? We have to take extraordinary measures so that in coming Passovers, we may come together and celebrate the greatest miracle in the world, and do it not screen to face, but face to face, but still in all with the same love we feel now. Cantor, please begin with the blessing over the candles of Yom Tov, the two brachot.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav letzilanu lehadlik ner shel Yom Tov.
Shechianu, Cantor.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam שהחיינו וקיימנו והגיענו הזמן.
And a big amen. Amen. Now, the word Seder means order. And so we tell the story of Yetziat Mitzrayim, the Exodus from Egypt, following an order, beginning with the symbols. The first symbol is the Kiddush, the blessing of the wine. And we drink a Passover 4 cups of wine. The original, and you can see it on the screen, the original meaning that it's a great festive meal. And also it is in honor of the midwives, the Jewish midwives who defied the edict of Pharaoh to kill the male children of Egypt, and so in their honor. And they are given the credit for the exodus from Egypt more so than Moses. This year, the 4 questions, the 4 cups of wine are in honor of those who give us life and sacrifice and put themselves on the front line, that we may celebrate this Passover and people may go forward and celebrate Passovers to come. They are the first responders, the police, the fire, the nurses. If anyone would like after this, please contact me. I sent out a special message on behalf of all the chaplains. The Freeport Police Department also sent it to the Nassau County Police. So we have the first responders, we have the nurses on the front line, the doctors, and those who provide for us, whether it's takeout, whether it's a supermarket, whether it's the pharmacy at the gas stations, those in the service industry. They are our heroes. They sacrifice that we may live and go forward to celebrate this Passover and Passovers to come. Also, we have our own 3 heroes, as I mentioned last night, Lauren, Scott, and Bennett Franklin, who went forward, got the matzah, and make sure that every member of our temple family and every member that contacted us that did not have matzah didn't have matzah for the Seder. And so I ask that everyone raise their cup. Unmute. You could sing the Bori Paragafen with the cantor as we recite the blessing over the first cup of wine. Cantor.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri haven.
Amen. L'chaim. Hey, hi, Ollie. And Damien, don't leave. The next. Okay, I'm going to certain things. I'm getting there. I'm getting there.
You're doing wonderful.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it. You, I take orders from, no one else. Now, at the Seder, and it's apropos for these times in which we live with the coronavirus, for 3,000 years, we wash our hands twice. Once to make sure that we are clean, that everything is in order. Cleanliness, hygiene is one of the greatest contributions of Judaism to the world of medicine. So is quarantine, by the way. So now I'm going to wash my hands in a moment, symbolically, without the blessing. So give me a second. Now you can be assured that I'm safe and clean. I washed my hands with the finest soap available. That I don't know what it is. Not for 20 seconds, but for 21 seconds. Okay. Now the other symbol of Passover is karpas, which is the green. I have green here. Amy provided it. Say hello, Amy.
Hi.
Of spinach. Why spinach? Because spinach has a lot of zinc in it. And zinc ain't bad in these days. Now, the green represents the green of spring. Also, the green of the state of Israel. We celebrate one of the greatest miracles in modern times. Also, we dip the greens in the salt water. The salt water represents the tears our ancestors shed in Egypt, and also the tears we shed for those whose lives were lost. Those who, instead of being at a Seder table or on a ventilator, we pray for the souls of the departed. We pray that God grant refuah shalem, a complete and speedy recovery to those who are ill. Now, when I grew up in Brooklyn, by the way, Brooklyn is more religious than Jerusalem, even for the Reform Jews. We didn't dip necessarily the green, but either an egg or a boiled potato into the salt water. Why? So we have a little something to eat for the kids, especially before we start. And also the egg is what the Seder is about. The egg represents the children. The Seder is about our children. It's all about you guys. You are our, not only today, but our future. And so please unmute yourself and join with the cantor and myself and sign the blessing over the greens or the egg or the potato together. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri ha'adamah. Amen. We take a bite.
Okay, Mama. Wait, you give me a
All right.
Didn't have to.
I have. Okay. Okay. The next symbol is the afikomen. Guys, pay attention. We have three matzahs representing the past, the present, and the future. The middle matzah, which is the present, is broken. Half is hidden. Afikomen is a Greek word that means dessert. And guys, we can't, and gals, we cannot end the Seder without getting the afikomen back. Now, it's the job of the parents, the grandparents, to break the matzah and to hide it. Got it. At the appropriate time, it's your job to find it and to ransom it. So ask for nice things. And your parents, those of you with now, and from your grandparents especially, the job of grandparents is to spoil the grandkids rotten. You know that. And we will get you when we get to see you, if we can't be together, after the holiday. So we broke the matzah. Now, all the kids, unmute your phones, your computers. And we've come to one of the highlights of the Seder. The 4 questions, the Manish Tana. It's the job of the kids to ask, and it's the job of the parents to answer. So please join with the cantor loudly, passion, with joy, giving us nachas and singing the 4 questions. Cantor, go ahead.
מה נשתנה הלילה הזה מכל שבכל הלילות אנו אוכלים
Let's have a round of applause for our children who brought the spirit, the joy, the life of the Passover Seder into our homes and our hearts. Now, you, the children, have asked, and it's now the job of the parents to answer. So I'll give a brief answer because we are on a time schedule. And so we begin, Avadim hayinu l'farav b'Mitzrayim, we were slaves to Pharaoh in Egypt, and God brought out our fathers and our mothers with an outstretched arm, and we went from being Avadim, being slaves, to B'nai Chorim, to be free people. Now, this takes on special meaning, because while there are certain dynamics with the coronavirus that are out of our control, there are certain things in our control that we as free people, children, adults, men and women can do. It's to maintain our distance, not spiritually, not in our hearts, but physically. To take precautions, to do all that we can, washing our hands, that we may celebrate together. And also not only for our own well-being, but for the well-being of so many who sacrifice for us. We move forward. Now, eating and taking care of what is necessary in life is a blessing, is a gift that God has given to us. And so now I wash my hands. 1 second. Okay, 1 second. Okay, you guys did a great job. All right, now we talk about the 4 children. The 4 children. come to the Passover Seder, representing 4 types of personalities. But actually, they represent one personality. We are all of the 4 children at one time or another in our lives. As we begin our journey, we want to be the Chacham, the wise child. We absorb knowledge like a sponge. Later on in life, we rebel. We want to find our own way. That's called adolescence. So that is not the wicked child, but the curious and somewhat, I'm on my own type of child. Later on, we have questions. We thought we knew it all, but we see we really don't. And we become a little confused, somewhat don't know where to go. And the third child is Vishano Yodei L'Shol. We don't even know what questions to ask anymore. We're so overwhelmed by what we see, what we experience. And so Passover tells us that's life. When we're young, we have little knowledge, we grasp it. We want to make our own way in life. We have questions. We got to keep questioning and not be overcome by what we do not know, but have the courage, maybe sometimes to even fail, even the courage to come up with the wrong answers and search for the right answers. The right answers on this Passover are the following: that we are loved. We're loved by our parents, by our people. We are loved by God. We are never alone. And life is always a process of discovery. Okay, now we come to the 10 plagues that God brought upon Egypt. This year, unfortunately, we have our own plague of Egypt, which no one is exempt from. That's the plague, the 11th plague of the coronavirus. When we recite the 10 plagues, we take we take a drop of wine out of our cup, depending on our tradition, either with our finger, our pinky, or a little piece of matzah. And by doing this, we diminish the amount of wine in the cup. Why? Because even though the Egyptians were our enemies and they made our lives bitter, when any of God's children suffer, all our joy is diminished. Well, just so as the plagues ended in Egypt and the slavery ended, the children of Israel went free, so too the plague of the coronavirus will end. Now, as I told you last night, those of you who were on the line last night, I was a rotten kid. I use a piece of matzah. That's the way I grew up. I used to eat the matzah afterwards. Don't do that. If you're doing with matzah, throw a piece of matzah in the salt water. If you do it with your pinky, wipe off your pinky. Now it's all joined together with me and the cantor and myself, and reciting the 10 plagues in Hebrew and in English. Dam, blood together. Svardeya, frogs. Kinim, light. Arov, wild beasts.
Dever,
Pestilence.
Shukhin, boils. Okay. Arbe, hail. Choshech, darkness. Makat b'charot, the slaying of the firstborn of Egypt. Rabbi would shorten it and say it comes down to the tzach, adash, ba'achav. Now we throw the matzah into the salt water and wipe off our pinkies. Okay. Now, the main part of a banquet is the singing. The singing. And one of the most favorite songs by Billy Joel, I think, is Dayenu. Billy Joel's Jewish, by the way. I'm sure he sang the Dayenu. not with the same passion as our cantor or the same beauty, but he sang the Dayenu. Dayenu means enough. Genug, it's enough. And what does Dayenu teach us? That we have to be appreciative for what we have. Yes, we could want more. We could always have more. Yes, we're not where we really want to be tonight, but we are where we are with love. We are experiencing. We are celebrating. We're feeling each other's love. We're seeing each other. So we're going to sing 3 verses of the Dayenu. Please unmute. I want to hear the kids. The adults, I want to hear the kids. So the first one is taking us out of Egypt. Not yet. The second one is give us the Sabbath, and the third is giving us the Torah. Guys, with the cantor, the Dayenu.
Ilu hotzi hotziyanu, hotziyanu Mitzrayim, hotziyanu Mitzrayim.
Together. Ilu not Torah. Ilu. Beautiful. A round of applause for the kids and the grandparents. And for Oliver, of course. Okay, now, as I said, the Seder is a great party celebration. We're all drinking Brunello de Montalcino. And so we now join with the cantor and recite the blessing over the second cup of wine. Cantor. Amen. L'chaim. To life.
Red wine cup.
Now, Seders have changed down through the millennia. The first Seder was celebrated 3,300 years ago.
You had
Not in freedom.
one piece.
Please mute your phones at this time. Not in freedom, but when the Israelites were still slaves. And the second Seder was celebrated, and the Seder, subsequent Seders were celebrated in freedom. And the story, the mitzvah story, was told in light of the realities of the time. Rabbi Gamliel, one of the greatest rabbis ever to live, distilled the story of Passover into 3 symbols. Pesach, which is the Paschal lamb. Matzah, which is the matzah called lechem oni, the bread of affliction. And moror. And they encapsulate the day and time in which we live. And through them, we tell the story to all times. So, but before we do that, I got to make a blessing, second washing the hand, as we're about to partake in a meal, because every meal is sacred. Every meal is special. Every meal we give thanks to God for, especially in these times with so many, because of shortages, because of unemployment, because of layoffs, because of the coronavirus, to without. So I'm going to go wash my hands. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech olam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu al netilat yadayim. Now the first symbol, that of the Pesach, the Paschal lamb, which is represented by the egg or the shank bone, represents the Passover offering, the Passover meal, which is to be eaten b'chabura, in community. And so on Passover, we invite all who are in need, come join our Seder, because your presence adds great joy to our celebration. And so too, as we fulfill this mitzvah, and we have come together, and you've added to my joy, to each other's joy. You're a blessing to me. We also recognize that this Passover going forward, we're going to have to be more sensitive, more open, more giving. The next symbol, the matzah, is called the bread of affliction. It's called the bread of the poor. Matzah is nothing more than water and flour. And so as we eat the matzah, we recognize that there are those who have nothing more than a piece of matzah to eat 365 days a year. And it's not just because of the coronavirus and these remarkable and horrible times we are living in, but because of poverty in this nation and around the world. And so we must be sensitive. And another lesson with the matzah. So what happens to one person anywhere affects all people everywhere. No one is immune. And so we have to provide for people, all people at home here in the United States, and for our brothers and sisters around the world, so that we might be free from this curse. The maror, the bitter herb, or herbs. I had an uncle, I called him bitter herb, he was a nasty guy. The bitter herb reminds us in ancient days of the bitterness of slavery. But in our day, the bitterness of poverty. There are children, there are adults living on the streets. We are told to shelter in place. They have no shelter. And 1 in 7 of the people that don't have what to eat are children. And also the bitterness of loss brought about by the coronavirus. And so while we mourn, while we pray for that God heal the families of those who lost loved ones, that God accept the souls of those who departed, we acknowledge that immortality is, that life is eternal. That too is the promise of Pesach. Now, the next symbol is the charoset. The charoset, which is that mystery combination of apples and wine and nuts. It represents our luxuries, the good things that we have. And also, when we make the Hillel sandwich, we put the matzah and the maror together. We recognize that life is a combination of the good, the sweet, and the bitter. And the sweetness and the goodness and the power of the holy of God, of love that we have within us, enables us to overcome the bitter moments of life and also appreciate the good times. So now I'm going to ask everyone to do is take a piece of matzah, and we're going to recite the 2 blessings over the matzah. Kenta, let's join together. Let's show them the blessings together. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam Hamotzi lechem min haaretz. And the second blessing on eating matzah. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kidsanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu al achilat matzah. We take a piece of the matzah. Now, we take the matzah and put a little charoset on it, and a little maror, which is the horseradish, and we make what is known as the Hillel sandwich, combining the sweet and the bitter, and recognizing and praying for a sweet year. We say the blessing al chalat maror together. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kidsanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu al achilat maror. Commands us to eat the maror and the charoset together. Now, because we have to wash that delicious delicacy down, and join with the cantor and sing the blessing over the fourth cup of wine. Cantor.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam
Amen. L'chaim. Now the Seder is also, can everyone hear it? Seder is also about faith. And one of the most beloved songs is the Adir Hu, which the cantor will lead us in a moment in singing. And it talks about God's presence in our lives and in our world, that we are never alone, that God is with us, give us the strength and the courage to overcome the adversities, the obstacles, the problems that we face. So cantor will lead us in singing the Adir Hu in both the Hebrew and the English. Cantor?
Adir Hu, Adir Hu,
Cantor.
God of might, God of right, thee we give all glory. Thine all praise in these days, as in ages hoary, when we hear year by year freedom's wondrous story.
Thank you, Cantor. And now we've come to one of the highlights of the Seder, and that is the time of ransom. In other words, kids, it's time for you to go find the afikomen. And when we sit down for the meal, let your parents and grandparents redeem it, and we, grandparents that are not there with you, we give you 2 IOUs, one for last night and one for tonight. So go, we'll take a break for 2 seconds and go find the Afikomen as I drink the best of Poland Spring.
You eat everything.
I'm gonna hide this. No.
Okay, I'll commence. I don't want anyone to say the rabbi is dragging the Seder. So now, because you had a big hunt for the Afikomen, and to give you the chutzpah to ask for a really good thing from your parents and grandparents to redeem it, because you can't end the Seder without the Afikomen as a dessert. We say a blessing on the 4th cup of wine together. Baruch Kanta.
Baruch Adonai,
Amen. L'chaim, to life.
Watch us.
Now, the Seder is about hope, hope for a better time, hope for a better life, not only for ourselves, but for all people. A time of justice, a time when truth will prevail, a time when all will have access to proper health care, that all will see each other as sisters and brothers. It will be the end of hatred, an end of anti-Semitism, an end of racism. Because one of the bitter plagues we have had this year, and you members of my individual family, led by Dylan, Ryan, and Liam, you the members of my Temple Israel family, led by our president, and Al Friedman, and the Cantor, and Fred Rudin, and so many of you took to the streets and stood up against anti-Semitism, one of the oldest hatred and bitterness in the world. And so it is our prayer that this coming year will be a better year, a year when we begin to realize the promise of the Mashiach, the Messiah, the Messianic age, when nation shall not lift up sword against nation. Well, all will have enough to eat, a place to sleep, and put their heads down unafraid, for all who are ill will be healed when we come to see each other equally as God's children. And on Passover, we welcome the messenger, the one who will bring forth the Messianic age of the Mashiach, Elijah the prophet, Eliyahu, and Ophir. We set a special cup for him. This is a very old and very special sterling silver Kiddush cup. Came from a community in Europe that is no more because of the hatred and anti-Semitism, the Shoah. By using this cup at the Seder, as I've done for all years, it's invited their neshamas, their souls, their history, their lives to join us. And so please open the door as the cantor will, and unmute your microphones, please, as the cantor will lead us in the singing of Eliyahu Hanavi. Cantor. Okay, we place the cup of Elijah the prophet, and if we close our eyes for a moment, he'll come into our Sidorim, and in a moment, And the moment when we open them, you'll see a little bit of wine is missing from the cup. Elijah had welcomed us and a welcome guest at our Seder. Okay, now we end. Please, everyone, mute your phones and mute your.
Stop the noise.
Like to see the cantor. Cantor, where are you?
I'm here. I'm here. 1 second.
Please leave the cantor on board.
You hear?
We end our. And please mute your screens and your phones. Please do that now. For 3,000 years, we ended the Seder with the words, L'shana haba'ah b'Yerushalayim. Next year in Jerusalem. And lo and behold, after 2,000 years of praying, of hoping, in 1948, there was an independent Jewish state. Then we prayed, L'shana haba'ah b'Yerushalayim hashleimah. Next year, we join together for the Seder, may it be in a Jerusalem that is united. And that miracle occurred in 1967 after the Six-Day War. And then we prayed after the Yom Kippur War. L'shana haba'ah b'Yerushalayim and Shalom b'Ahava. Next year, we join together. May it be with a Jerusalem, a peace. And this year we end our Seder with the words L'shana haba'ah b'Yerushalayim hashleimah habenuya shalom ba'ahava. Next year when we join together for a Seder, may it be in Jerusalem, united Jerusalem, the rebuilt Jerusalem. Jerusalem, a beacon of peace and hope for the world. A Jerusalem of the soul, free of fear, free of disease, free of hatred. That is our prayer. May God watch over us and keep us to that moment. And now please bow your heads as I ask God's choicest blessings upon you together with the cantor as we pray. May the Lord bless you and keep you. May the Lord lift up his face upon you, upon us all, and keep us safe and healthy, blessed with family members and love. May the Lord lift up his face upon us, upon all his people of all faiths everywhere. This season for the Abrahamic faiths, this night when we celebrate Passover, this coming Sunday when the Christian world celebrates Easter, the coming week when Muslims around the world will celebrate Ramadan and bring to us the most greatest blessing in the world, this blessing to all his children, this blessing of peace. Amen.
Amen.
Our anthem for the Seder has been, and for this period when we've joined virtually, is Am Yisrael Chai, which means the Jewish people live. The Jewish people survive. We not only survive, we thrive. And in the New Year in the Passover greetings that President Rivlin sent to me to share with you on this holiday of Pesach, he ended with the words, Am Yisrael Chai, the Jewish people live. Jewish people not only a symbol of ourselves, but a symbol of humanity. May it always be so. And so now, connected with Jews around the world, from Brooklyn to Beersheba, from Michigan to Modi'in, from Yorktown Heights to Yerushalayim, let us join with the cantor in singing our anthem of hope. Am Yisrael Chai. Unmute your microphone.
Israel, To everyone, our heartfelt prayers for a decent Passover, a sweet Passover, a safe Passover, a healthy Passover, a joyous Passover, a Passover we feel each other's love, a Passover that will bring us into the days and weeks and months and year ahead, a time of renewed rebirth and goodness, of love and life. I'd like to thank the cantor for her magnificent singing, for joining with me and presenting the Seder. Damien, without his help, there will be no Seder. For Alan Friedman getting the word out. For all the kids who sang so beautifully. Remember, the Zafi Coleman's are worth money. For everyone, members of my individual family, my grandkids, my son and my daughter I got to see. For Amy, for preparing the Seder plate that could take us through the symbolism. Michelle, also for the beautiful charosa, thank you. And for each and every one of you, and I'm not going to mention all your names, you know why? If I forget somebody's name, you won't feel good about it. And that made me feel lousy. So let's all feel good. For all of you, one name, the Temple Israel family. You're all remarkable, special, and wonderful family. And I want to tell you something else. You are the standard of congregational life and of liberal Judaism, not only here in America, but around the world. God bless you, and thank you. Go enjoy your Passover meals. Thank you.
Thank you, Rabbi. Thank you, Cantor. Thank you, Damien. Thank you, Adam.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you.
Bye-bye, everybody. Thank you. Enjoy your
Thank
Passover.
you. Well, couldn't be a Seder without everyone here.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Great.
Teresa, thank you.
Oh, nice.
Good night, friends.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you, Rabbi.
Thank you. And again, thank you, Laura and family, for being courageous, getting the matzah, and then delivering it as Eliyahu Navi's special. I want to thank Amir and Elaine as well, and Fred for the brilliant idea, joining with the cantor, myself and Doug. And not a brilliant idea, but Fred with your heart, the great mitzvah of making sure everyone has. Which, by the way, I shared with my colleagues around the country that are all touched by it from coast to coast. As a matter of fact, the police commissioner of Nassau County, Pat Ryder, said if we needed help in distributing the matzah, he would help us. I'd like to thank my dear friend, Keith Bermuda, also is joining with us in Maryland. Has been there for the Temple Israel, make sure that we're safe in our homes. And God willing, we'll return to our spiritual home very soon.
Amen, Rabbi. Amen.
Amen. Amen. Thank you. You're all wonderful. You're all wonderful.
Rabbi, thank you.
Thanks, Galina. Thank you, Jay.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you very much.
Bye, all.
Thank you. Thank you, guys. Now go eat. All right. I spoke enough. The kids never sing too much, but I sometimes speak too much. So why don't we all sign off and go eat and sign on again tomorrow at 7 o'clock for our Passover Shabbat service.
Oh, it's Friday. Holy.
It's Holy Friday. It's Good Friday. That's right.
It's Holy Friday.
I mean, look, Barbara, I'll introduce you you go with me to Italy. I'll introduce you to the Pope. Bill Murray, what's his name? Murphy.
I hope it's not Bill Murray.
No. Bill Murray, I know also. That's another story. I'm always up for a laugh. All right, I'm going to sign off.
All right,
Thank
enjoy
you.
your evening. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Goodbye.
Barbara.
Bye.
Bye.